Mr. Young.
Thank you.
Not bad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Russ.
That was smart, putting it double-sided.
Anyway, we're here tonight and for a variance for a temporary sign. And this temporary sign is located on Hadley Road. If you look at the second sheet, you'll see the sign location approximately in 300 or 400 feet west of the east boundary of the proposed Grand Oaks development. The sign is specifically for Grand Oaks. If you look at the last sheet, you'll see the proposed sign. And back to the front, the standards for evaluation. And because this sign is a temporary sign and the ordinance restricts temporary signs to, in an R1 zoning, to 6 square feet, maximum height of 4 feet, and setback 10 foot from the right-of-way line. Well, that size of a sign, 6 square feet, people drive by it looking for the thing and probably cause more congestion and traffic and backup than would be if we had a sign that they could readily read from the road. So tonight the request is for a sign to be 32 square feet, 4 foot by 8 foot, would be a maximum height of 10 feet to the top. It would be placed 10 feet from the edge of pavement, and the reason for that is the right-of-way line as it now exists, because the final plat hasn't been approved, is actually in the center of Hadley Road, approximately the center, because it's still a meets and bounds parcel. So in order to clarify that, we would put it 10 feet from the edge of pavement. That puts it about 20 to 22 feet from the center line to the nearest edge.
22 feet from the center line to the edge of the sign.
Yes, or 10 feet off the edge of pavement. The 22 feet is an estimate on my part. But if you're going to measure it, Mr. Tim trying to figure out if it meets the variance requirements, he can measure the edge of pavement without getting out into traffic. And that's why we designated that. This standards of evaluation, the variance will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare to the community. The sign is informational and needed to identify proposed residential development approved by the Mooresville Plan Commission. The sign is placed such that it will not interfere with traffic on Hadley Road, and the message is identifying an approved project by the town of Mooresville. 2, the use or value of the area adjacent to the property, including it in this variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The sign is temporary and will only be in place until permanent signage is constructed as part of Phase 1 development of the residential subdivision. The sign is located in such that it will not be near adjacent to any residence. The strict application of the terms of the ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because the size, height, and setback for a temporary sign per the ordinance is not adequate to identify the project or to direct contractors and potential buyers to the site, and therefore the variance is required to make the site readily seen from Hadley Road by interested parties. And I would answer any questions.
I'm driving around the last week, I've seen signs at different subdivisions, and they are 4 by 8.
Yeah.
And that needs to be changed in the UDO.
I think the UDO needs to address signs for proposed developments, I guess would be a better, because I can see if you're in a true residential development that's already developed, somebody puts a sign out in the yard. In a residential street, you're driving 15, 20 miles an hour, sure, that's fine. But in this application, the ordinance either needs to address it or perhaps see more of these variances.
Questions or comments from the board members? Yes, Dave.
In reading the narrative, it says setback from 10 feet of right-of-way line to 20 feet to the nearest edge of pavement. Here. Than what was submitted.
You stated it different tonight than...
Yeah. Yes. The findings of fact that we've got here tonight is what we're proposing, and the application was a misspelling.
Sorry.
The application was typo, I guess, is the best way to put it.
So it's 22 feet from the center of the
From
road.
the center, or
Understand? Or
10 feet from the nearest edge of pavement to the nearest edge of the sign.
Fine.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Ross, did I hear you say that the permanent sign would be installed on the completion of Phase 1?
That's correct. Phase 1 is the first section immediately adjacent to Hadley Road and runs the entire.
That means all the houses will be built there before they go to Phase 2 or Phase 3?
Not necessarily, but when we have the construction completed for Phase 1, that will include the permanent signage, which is, if you go up towards Avon and past some of those subdivisions that have a nice brick or stone, that's what it will be.
Or like at Villages of Eastmore.
Yes. Hopefully,
Or Robeson Woods.
hopefully better than Eastmore, but the artist rendering for that wasn't the greatest, and I didn't do it.
We
so.
talked about that before.
So if
Any
there's a
other comments?
If there's a lot or two not sold, that means it's not completed?
No, when the construction is completed, and we would stipulate to that, when the construction is completed for Phase 1, regardless of whether houses are sold or not,
Okay.
the signs will be completed, because the signs, in fact, are part of the mounding and landscaping for Phase 1.
Thank you.
At the entryway, correct?
That's correct.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
This is what was handed out this evening, correct?
Excuse me?
This was handed out this evening?
Yes.
This also states 20 feet from the edge of pavement.
If you want 20 feet, we'll make it 20 feet. It's that easy. We'll amend it to 20 feet.
So in that motion,
20 feet from the nearest edge of pavement.
anyone from the public wish to speak? I have a question. We're back to the BZA, and remember the promise that Mr. Holloway just made.
We'll stipulate that
Please-
part of the motion should be 20
please
feet from the
include that
nearest
in the
edge of
motion.
pavement.
So do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion with a 20-foot stipulation from the nearest edge of pavement.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
You're quite welcome.
And again, I apologize for, I'm going to write 6 o'clock down.
Still time to get home for the football game.
Well, I can't get home till 6:30.
Back to the agenda, is there any new business or old
What do we
business?
have for dinner?
What's the dinner?
You don't have to give building permits, do you? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone.
Mike, you need to keep this for a minute. This
You can have that.
she gave us.
See, you didn't.
Well, there may have